Just like General Douglas MacArthur, we have returned after a brief hiatus. Another edition of the NSIC Weekly Podcast. Tom and Witt at your service. Moms and dads and fans of the NSIC, welcome back.
Yeah, buddy. This is kind of a weird weekend off from NSIC football. Only one game was being played, and uh, I mean, you had a chance to go ahead and do some things, and we'll go ahead and take a look at them here momentarily. But how are you feeling? You feel kind of refreshed coming back on in?
Yeah, it's I had to start memorizing again this morning. My not locked and loaded. Took a week off, and it takes a little bit to get back on that bike, if you know what I mean.
I spoke to Coach Glow at USF and a few other coaches, and they kind of mentioned me. This is weird to have the off like we did, weekend off, and just be able to kind of sit like any other old dad and watch TV and not have the kind of the pressure of the game and everything else.
I don't know if they were just sitting around acting like dad. I'm sure they still had a lot on their plate. They weren't taking the entire week off with. That's not how it worked.
Yeah, and while you might have been off, everyone else in Division Two was playing. So I was covering MIAA stuff and GLIAC stuff and our national show. So I felt like I haven't gotten any break, but that's just me. So
No rest for the wicked, baby.
I know it. So you were busy on your Twitter machine, going ahead and narrating your day to day like you tend to, and it always makes for good entertainment for our show, my friend. So, tell us a little bit about some of the yard work, and you look like you were all kinds of busy right there, fella.
Well, you wouldn't know it today, as windy as it was. All the leaves that I scooped up on Saturday are back and then some. I don't
Ugh.
even know why I bother.
I know I don't. So, let's and then it looks like yourself and your bride, you guys had a chance to go ahead to Back to the Future the musical. I don't know much about this. Tell me a little bit.
Well, it's a little bit of culture here in South Dakota down at the Washington Pavilion, a musical based on the old Michael J. Fox movie. It was
That
great, phenomenal. I enjoyed it
absolutely.
immensely.
Mike, watched the movie with my kids not that long ago. I like to familiarize them with some things that I feel are necessary viewing and for them to know about. So, I can totally identify with that. And we're kind of moving on to the last thing. The last time you were at a football game here, buddy, you were at the place that you enjoy the most.
There were 7 touchdowns in this game, and 2 of them were on our end.
Yeah.
One of them
Now,
was in the daylight. The other ones were in the dusk or in the evening. So
there was a whole lot of scoring being done at the other end, from what I recall.
that's what I mean. 2 on our end, 5 on the other end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, who do you have in the booth with you as you are standing relatively awkwardly in that moment?
Well, there was not room. I gave up my chair to one of these young men, and it got a little cool in the press box there, so I had to put a coat on at the end of the game with the door open and whatnot. These are 2 local products. Sitting there in the front is linebacker London Cole out of Sioux Falls Jefferson High School. He was representing the defense on our post-game show. And then in the back, a guy who was pressed into duty at quarterback, redshirt freshman from Lincoln High School in Sioux Falls. That's Tate Schaefer, who just happens to be the reigning NSIC Offensive Player of the Week. Wasn't expected to play, but maybe half the game, half the snaps. Had to play the entire game, save for 1 snap because of injury.
And Tom, it looks like we have lost you for a moment. Are you back up and good, my friend?
I'm here. I didn't know I went anywhere.
That was retro 2 years ago when we used to lose you about every other show.
I didn't know I went anywhere.
Okay, fair enough. Well, and kind of wrapping up, Tom, with what you had going on kind of socials and what had happened in the past week since we last saw you. I had people on our national show the last 2 weeks taking a look at. Apparently, they must follow you on the Twitter machine. They were asking about this.
I was hoping you would.
Bring yourself a little bit.
I was hoping you would not use that.
Well, I mean, when you put it on the socials, you kind of leave it out there. I mean, even Chuck Bittner, my national guy, said, "What are we doing here?" And I said, "That's my guy." So, are you healed up from whatever this was?
Yeah, I was in northern Minnesota. My uncle passed away, so I had to go to a funeral and stayed in a motel. And in the middle of the night, had to make a run to the bathroom and then back to bed. Stubbed my toe on a footstool, broke it.
Did you broke the stool or broke your foot?
The toe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, fair enough. Well, don't feel like you got to put your injuries on the socials going forward. But anyway, how has my life been? Well, it's been me and the dog at the house, and that's me watching the dog, watching dogs on television. Yeah,
Get a life. Get out of life.
I know that's where my life's at right now. So let's go ahead and move on into some of our football action, and I'll let you kind of start us off here, buddy.
Well, on Saturday, there was one game played. It pitted two NSIC teams, but it was a non-conference affair. These two teams did not play in week 0. So to fill the bye week on October 18th, they hooked up in Aberdeen. And as you see on the screen there, Northern had its way with Southwest Minnesota State, a team that's really struggling right now.
Yeah, and Northern State's offense continues to really rock and roll. And Wyatt Block, another big week, over 100 yards rushing. And, they kind of get that nice 2 quarterback thing going on. And you don't normally hear people speak about that in a complimentary way, but I really think it's working for them.
What do you think of the decal on the helmet there, Witt?
What's that?
What do you think of the decal on the helmet?
Well, I'm not a hunter, but you notice it's the pheasant in the mouth there of the wolf, and it was opening weekend for pheasant, if I'm not mistaken, was it not?
I'm surprised you caught that. I didn't know that you knew all about the mighty bird here in South Dakota.
I know Pollock from Chicago, but every once in a while I know these things, and so they ended up rolling yesterday, Tom. Or 2 days ago, Northern State did. And then the week previous, we never had a chance to really talk much about this or unpack this. Did you get a chance to catch up at all with what happened a few weeks ago when Duluth made their trip up to Aberdeen?
Yeah, I was aware that the highly regarded Bulldogs went into Dakota Bank Stadium and suffered their first loss of the year, 34-31. Our man David Tewksbury was keeping us up to date, us being we got a text chain among NSIC broadcasters, and he said perhaps the most exciting game he's ever done.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, one of the biggest wins ever at Northern State, and Duluth was coming in unbeaten. A lot of people thought that they may end up going unbeaten in conference and head into the playoffs that way. And I thought Northern State, their social media group did a nice job going ahead and kind of packaging some highlights to that. And we're going to go ahead and play this with the audio, Tom. So we're going to let that go, and we'll just kind of sit tight. And then we're going to have a special guest right after that plays.
I could choose, but through it all, when there was doubt, tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say. I'm not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
Hey, we do this! We do this!
The game, your final score, the North State Wolves 34.
Wolves always on top.
Come on, Bulldogs.
Go ahead, it's the Wolves!
That's how we do it in Aberdeen.
Another Wolves, man, let's go! He's him! He's him! That's our roommate! That's our roommate!
I thought that was really, really well done.
You know who was singing there with?
I believe that was Frank Sinatra.
I'm surprised you even know who that was.
Come on now.
All right. He's not our special guest, but we do have a special guest on the NSIC Weekly podcast, direct from Aberdeen, South Dakota, the head coach of Northern State University, Mike Schmidt, is with us. And Mike, watching that video, man, that had to be a special night at the bank as you corralled Wall, Jasper and company and eked out that win.
Yeah, it's hard to go back now. You're so into moving on, right? It's those 2 games ago now, but big for the program. Awesome night for our community, for everybody to be a part of that. Was really cool. So I loved it. It was great. Fitting that our social media team did that with the music. Like, that's kind of one of our taglines is, just be us. Do it our way. Do it. Believe in our way, and our team has believed, and now we're kind of rolling at this point and getting things going. We're now 11-3 in our last 14 games, and 2 of those against Duluth. I think there's a time, and I said this to you guys last year about beating Bemidji. I didn't know there's a time we'd ever beat Bemidji, and I didn't know there's a time we'd ever win back-to-back against Duluth. And to do it with the team that they have, that's a great football team. And we just kind of had one of those nights where everything goes your way, and the guys played and never flinched and battled the whole way. So special night, big night for the program. Unfortunately, we haven't won anything yet, so it doesn't really do anything. It's a great win and puts us still in contention and in the hunt to have a good season here. But the reality is we really haven't done anything yet. So we got a lot of football left to play, but that was a big step and a big win for our guys. And we've kind of had one of those every year at Dakota Bank Stadium. We beat USF in 21 at home. That was the first time we'd beaten them in forever. Right. We beat Mankato for the second time ever in 22. We came back. We were down 19-0 to Wayne, a really good Wayne team that year in 23. Came all the way back and won it at the very end. Last year, beating Bemidji on Gypsy Days here was unbelievable. And then to win this one is pretty cool that we've kind of had one of those signature wins every year. And so we're receiving votes in the top 25 for the second time ever as a program. So we got a good football team, and that was a really fun night and a really special one for our guys.
Coach, you've as you were alluding to there, you guys, it's almost like you've slayed a dragon each one of those years, during your tenure. A huge win. Do you feel like this was the biggest one of the bunch?
Probably. I don't know. Everybody else kind of says that. I mean, that was a quarterfinal team at Bemidji last year that I felt like that was a pretty big one. That was like, just because that group was kind of the bullies of the league for the last few years. Not necessarily that they were the best team always, but they were bullies, and they beat us up pretty good those 2 years prior to that. And so I think that was pretty special. I mean, anytime you can beat Mankato is pretty special. Any one of those blue bloods, the USF, the Augie, which we haven't beat Augie yet. So, and I haven't beat Augie yet as the head coach here. So, anytime you can beat those blue bloods is pretty big. But I just think like your goal as you're building a program is over a 10-year span. If you can beat them and be 5-5 or 6-4, then your program's in a good spot. But beating them in one-offs is just not. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's special in the moment. It's big things. You can use it in recruiting, and there's evidence to how you want to keep building your program. But those things happen. That stuff happens over time. So I hope we have a lot more. I would like to play a game where we're ranked in the top 10 at our own stadium and not have to worry about everybody else being ranked. So that would be really nice too. But that was a pretty big one. I think part of it is that's just a great team. I felt like, and no disrespect to anybody else or anything else, I felt like that's been the best team that I've coached against just in my prep for them, how they were playing. So, to go in and win that. And at the end, I think we were down 6 defensive starters at the end of the game. We got backups kind of everywhere. And then we had guys that were cramping. And so we were down, I think 6 or 7 starters by the end of that. On that last drive, we lose a onside kick to let them back in it. But
you did.
It was a good night. It was a good night.
Your offense right now is one of those rare breeds where you're using 2 quarterbacks, Brock Bogosian and Daniel Britt. And the old adage is if you got 2 quarterbacks, you haven't got 1 quarterback. But it's successful for you guys. How does that rotation? How did it come into being, and how's it working out?
Well, they're both so good. I mean, I think we got to keep playing them. Britt's just such a good player, and Brock throws it so well, and he's so efficient, and that's kind of what our offense is. That's what Coach Brown is all about. I mean, he's, I felt like coming into the season, there was no question that we had the best offseason hiring coaches in the league. I really believed in the guys that we hired. I believed in their abilities, the kind of people they are, and I think you're seeing that. Like, we have a whole new offensive staff. There's not a single guy in our offensive staff right now that was here last year. So, it's just kind of cool to see the way that they've kind of put it together and gone that way. Braley Brown was the guy that I wanted to hire the whole time. He made me wait it out, made me sweat. I tell that all the time. I get a chance to tell that story. But, I think he's been the key to that, is that the way he's handled those guys, the way he's dealt with them with love and honesty and fairness, that kind of allows those guys to just go and compete and play. And so kind of I would tell you why it works and how it works is because of Braley and Coach Brown, what he's – the kind of the standard, the culture that he set. But kind of a neat story from that night was, we're rotating them on a regular basis. It was Brock's turn to go in the 4th quarter. We had just had a big 4th down stop. We got the ball back, and on the headset, those 3 all communicated to say, like, hey, no, Daniel's got to take this one. I know, even Brock was like, I know I'm up, but they can't stop the quarterback run right now. And we went on a 7-minute drive. That almost closed the whole thing out and put us up 3 scores with 2.5 minutes left. And so that just shows the selflessness of those guys. That shows how smart they are, shows how much they get it, but it just shows that they're winners. And so when you have got 2 guys that are just winners and just care about winning the game and each other, it makes it pretty easy to work that kind of system. There's absolutely no drama that's involved with it. There's no sides to this thing. And so when you can keep it clean like that, it can work. It's very rare that you can do that when somebody's maybe not performing and have the ego to come back and still split time.
Coach, for those who haven't gotten a chance to watch you guys over the last month, but are seeing your ascent and what your record looks like and so forth, maybe in the Northern Sun here, what specifically do you guys feel like you're doing good offensively for those who haven't gotten a chance to watch you? I mean, it looks like you guys are keeping people off guard with all of these different ways that you can attack a defense, whether it's through the pass, different styles of quarterback, and the run game.
There's a lot of gadgets in there, and so that keeps people on their toes. Tom, you saw that firsthand and what that group can do offensively. There's just so many different answers, and so that's what Coach Brown has built, and I think it's why I love hiring a guy who builds, and I feel the same way on the defense side, but as you build your own playbook, he's built his own offense over time. That, he's a young guy, but he's been calling plays since he got into the business, basically. Right. And so he's had a chance to kind of go through and build things, and he has such a good handle on it and knows all the different tags and all the different things that we can do and attack teams with, and he can go to it, and he teaches in such a good way. And I think that's the key, is that we have smart players, smart coaches, that make a lot of different plays, a lot of formations, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, a lot of tempos. really hard to prepare for. And I think that's been kind of the key, is that we play with tempo, that we can slow it down, we can speed it up, we can get on the ball. I think that takes and requires a lot of communication amongst the offensive staff. It takes a lot of communication with me, that there's a lot of work kind of going on, say we're going for it on fourth down here, so that we can just get up and run tempo. We go for it and just get up on the ball and run tempo, so that you can't get into a special fourth down call. We're not hemming and hawing on what we want to be in. We line up, we run our stuff, and we go for it. And there's times when we get it against Duluth and it works out and helps us win the game. And there's times where we got stopped on 4th and 1 from our own 40-yard line and gave it to Walt Jasper and the crew with a short field. So, I just think it's the way that we're able to kind of communicate. We're able to put it together. There's a lot of gadgets, but, the two X factors have really been Wyatt block and then obviously the quarterback play. Wyatt's just untackleable. I mean, he's been unbelievable this year, all year. But, I mean, especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, he has been pretty special. So what he's doing, how he's running the ball, making people miss in space. I've said this before in an interview, but, we might as well have bought a saddle once Hank Kraft went down and tied it on to Wyatt's back, because that's just what we're doing the rest of the way. And if there's one guy that I've ever coached or known that can do that, it's Wyatt Block. He's just tough and just has that mentality. So we're riding Wyatt the rest of the way. And I think we really need that 2 quarterback system to make some of that work, so we can add some quarterback run into that, so people can't just load up on it. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our offensive line. I mean, we're averaging over 6 yards a carry right now in the season, by far the best in the league, one of the best in the country. We're 54 or 55% on third down offensively. So we're in good positions all the time and have a lot of answers. So I think we've got a mean, nasty group up front. We're built on running the football. It's kind of how we built the entire program, is running the ball and playing defense. And I think those things win over time.
You mentioned losing Kraft. A lot of teams in the league have seen injuries begin to mount. You've got 4 games left. Moorhead, Augie, Minot, Jamestown. How's Northern sitting with the final month of the season coming at you?
Am I required, like the NFL here, to report some questionable or doubtfuls?
Yes.
Or
No,
Yes, you are.
No. I'm not really big in this. I think one of the dumbest things that we do in our league is give out 2 deeps, because everybody lies in it and it's never up to date. And it's not really fair to the announcers and the people that are working the game. I wish we could just give honest things so people could prepare and get ready for the people who are going to actually be in the game. But no, we're not unlike everybody else. We're missing some superstars. I mean, Gabe Gutierrez is still leading the league in sacks. He hasn't played in the last game and a half. He's been out, and Keegan Mountain's been out since the 3rd or 4th game of the season, returning all-conference player, tied for the league in interceptions last year. Hank Kraft, I think, is one of the most versatile, electric players in the league. Superstar, phenomenal athlete. He's been out for the season with a torn ACL. We are not immune to any of that. I don't know who's going to be showing up this weekend against Moorhead, to be honest with you. I mean, we are super beat up and banged up, and it's kind of just been the year, right? Like, everybody's kind of dealing with that. You're watching that firsthand with what USF has had to go through since game 1, really. I mean, they've been in it this whole time, but no, we're in the same boat, and that's just kind of how it goes. But we were so proud last year. All 11 games, we started the stadium front 7 on defense. All 7 guys, D-line, linebackers, started the same group. This year, up until the SMSU game, had been the same way. And now they're starting to mount. And now they're starting to pile up and pile on. So it's just that time of the year. It's just one of those seasons. I think it says a lot about our league that, we really try to get our guys prepped. And we use the tagline, you don't go and train in the zoo to go hunt in the jungle. Like, you got to try and create the jungle in your training and in your practice and try to make those things really physical so you keep guys healthy. And I just think it's talking about the league right now. I mean, it's a slobber knocker. It is people that are coming to hit you really hard every single week. And it just speaks to the fact that you got to build depth. And I'll tell you this, Tom and Witt, like, a couple of years ago, nobody felt sorry for Northern State when we lost our first 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 games of the season. There wasn't a whole lot of, hey, Coach Schmidt, we're really sorry for you. We'll take it easy on you this week. It was like, hey, I'm probably going to get fired and have to lose my job. So, I don't really feel sorry for anybody that's going through it. We're all going through it. We've all kind of been there. And it's like, hey, how do you coach and figure it out at this time of the year? So it'll be interesting. I mean, it's a lot of new faces, a lot of new guys that are going to pop in.
Coach, Tom referenced it, your next opponent, Jack Strand and company. How do you prepare to defend for what they're going to do when it feels like it's something measurably different than what you're going to see on a weekly basis from others?
You got to score more points at some point. Like I don't. We're not going to stop him. We're not going to stop what they have. I think, we spend a lot of time in recruiting and in the offseason saying, you look at the construction of your roster to try and stop each team that you got to beat, right? And so what's interesting about this league is that it's hard to build to beat everybody. You got to build to beat the teams you feel like you got to beat to win a conference championship or put yourself in a position to go compete for the playoffs. And what is so fascinating and great with what those guys have done up at Moorhead is just they have a sensational player and they're just so well coached. They're so disciplined. They don't beat themselves. It's everything as a coach you want other teams to say about you when they're preparing for you. They give great effort. They're very physical. They don't make mistakes. They're very disciplined. Everything you want things to say, but I don't think you go in and say you're going to stop Jack Strand in the offense. Hopefully you can slow him down. Hopefully you can just get your guys to play really fast. I think that's the key is just get your guys to line up and play really, really fast. And, I think for us, we had Matt Baker a year ago and thought we were going to have him come back. Had Gabe Gutierrez back on the edge. That's the best way to slow Jack Strand down is to bring as many, is to get somebody in his face, is to tackle him before he can throw it. And when you're down players and when you're down guys like that, you don't replace a guy like Gabe Gutierrez. You don't replace, you don't replace Marcus Hansen in this league, right? There's not another guy that's going to replace that. To use a phrase from Moneyball, you try to build them in the aggregate and try to put that together so you can pressure him. But it's fun. It's terrifying. I'm already going gray and all this, but preparing for this one is a challenge, and it's getting yourself to. You cannot do too much. You got to line up and let your guys play fast. That's the only shot you have. If you try to do too much, if you try to have them play slow, they just know every answer to their offense and they're going to beat you. So I sure hope Coach Brown has a wonderful game plan tuned up. I don't know. I hope we score a bunch of points because I know they're going to score a bunch of points, and I hope we can win it with whoever has the ball in their hand at the end.
Moorhead's coming in Saturday off a bye. Do you kind of wish you had a week off heading into a game of this magnitude?
I texted a lot of my friends in the league, and I was just like, hey, I hope you're all having fun at an apple orchard or pumpkin patch or corn maze or whatever it is that you're doing, because Coach Underwood and I are out here grinding. We're in it right now, so, I just think, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Do you wish you had a bye? I don't believe in buys. Let's play. Let's line up and play this thing through. I don't want – everybody talks about rest and getting all this, and yeah, we're beat up and banged up, but I sure like playing. I sure like going back at it. I sure like our guys staying in routine. We do this so we can play and coach, and I think we feel good about getting back and ready to go. I don't like that they had 2 weeks to sit and look at our film. I'm sure they didn't look at our film for 2 weeks and do all that, but I think there's some stuff to that. I wish we would have played. I really wish we would have played before we played USF in game one. I think that's probably where I feel like there was a disadvantage, was not going through, not really knowing what your team is, because you don't really know. You don't play a scrimmage, right? So you don't really know what your team is all about before you play outside competition. So looking back on it, I don't think I'm worried about it right now. I like that we kept playing. I do wish we would have played a game so that a team wouldn't have been a full game ahead of us, just in conditioning and knowing more about your team and what they're about and that part of it. So, looking back on it, that's probably the one thing that I think is different. But hey, let's line up and play. I think that's the stuff we teach to our guys and talk about, let's go and get her rolling.
Coach, last question for me. We have a lot of folks who tune into our programming that are fans, not just of the Northern Sun, but of D2 as a whole and D2 football. You're on a group, Coaches Connection, organized by Mel Churchma, a Hall of Fame coach from Northwest Missouri State, as we call him, kind of the Nick Saban of Division II football. For those who are kind of tuning in, who are completely unaware of this, tell us a little bit of, if you would, about this group that you're a part of, and kind of what you guys are seeking to do at the Division II level, in this path.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I don't even know how I got on it, to be honest with you. I don't know if Aaron Lind asked me, or I don't even remember going back to it. I've been on it for a few years now. We meet once a month, and really it's a representative from every conference. So we get a chance to talk about what's kind of happening, and if there's stuff that's pertinent or whatever that's kind of happening around the country, I'll try and bring it to the coaches. We'll give updates on our kind of annual or biannual meetings that we have, and just kind of give what the pulse is that's out there. Even this, one of the latest ones was just asking each conference, what's your travel roster in your conference? What does everybody carry? What are some of the things that are there? I think that's such a huge benefit to be able to share, between conferences, between leagues, on what is our budget? How many teams have 36 scholarships? What does that look like on the other end of the D2 world? How does that differ with some of the private schools in different parts of the country and some of the public schools in different parts of the country? I think it would be a huge benefit for all of us if we were able to share budget notes and what are we all spending and doing on that. But, Coaches Connection is a place to kind of start compiling some of that, where we can all work together as conferences, as football coaches. And what's been really special about the D2 one is that we've been able to bring legislation. It really moves things along. And for instance, the red shirt rule was brought by football coaches. Week 0 was brought by football coaches. And so all of a sudden now you have all the sports can use the red shirt rule, and all of them can use the 40% or whatever it is, 30% of your schedule and still red shirt. And so it's kind of cool that in Division II, football only has been able to push legislation that then affects all of Division II. And so it's a neat deal. Coach Churchma is obviously a legend. It's humbling. It's so humbling. Like, you got some elite coaches around the country are on there, and it's really cool because there's some big time guys that are on there, and then there's little old me, and you're watching it. Everybody's like, Coach Church, he takes roll call, and everybody's like, Coach Churchma, I'm here, or yes, Coach, I'm here, and it's just so funny that the reverence for him and his position and who he is really neat. And so I think there's a lot of respect that's there. Bob Nielsen's on now as an AFCA liaison, former head coach at USD. So there's a lot of stuff that can get done. There's a lot of things that kind of originate with football coaches in the D2 Coaches Connection. And it's pretty cool to be able to connect with all those guys and kind of hear where everybody's at with what they're thinking with NIL and how everything's changing, because we don't really get a chance to get everybody together all the time. Right. And like D1 can meet so much and kind of disperse rules. We don't really have that. We're not as nimble as they are right now. And so we need to be able to communicate on kind of what everybody's seeing with the landscape, and transfer portal windows is kind of a big one right now. And obviously the 5-year thing is a big one right now. So there's a lot of discussion that kind of happens at that level. And we just it's a time that we get together an hour, every month and able to kind of get some information that hopefully we can help other coaches with.
Right.
Sweet. Great information here. I didn't know that was taking place, and it's good to know.
The power of the people.
Yes. Speaking of power of the people, you can't get away from this guy, Coach.
It's my guy, Tukes.
Tukes isn't on the show, but he's on the show. We joke around with Tukes, but you know what? He busts his rear for everything that is going on with the Wolves and your football program. And boy, I tell you, he feels like he wears a whole lot of hats. When you guys are wrapping up a game, he's down there doing interviews. He's wrapping up post game, all kinds of stuff. And when you guys are rocking, it's fun to see Tukes doing his thing. It really is.
It's awesome. It's awesome to have all of the. It's just so cool. It's humbling that people care that much, about what we do. He's so in, and Tom, I know you are too. Like, just how much you guys put into it, how much you care. It makes such a difference in the experience of the players and their families. It just wouldn't be the same without it. So Tukes is awesome. Love having him here. He sure cares, and we have a great relationship. And he stood by us in 0-4. I'm glad we can win, some more games here now, so he doesn't have to just defend, and he can be an objective journalist at this point and give his piece. But no, it's awesome. It's a great relationship there.
Mike, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Best of luck over your final 4 games. And I think all 3 of us here can probably safely say we want Seattle or Toronto to beat the Dodgers in the World Series.
We want Seattle or Toronto to beat the Dodgers in the World Series. My hometown Brewers go away, but we won't say anything else about that, Witt. We love you, and we'll see you next year in the NL Central, baby.
Our last 2 coaches on, both Brewers fans. What's going on here, Tom?
Smart guys. Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.
I'm getting trolled by our coaches with the Cubs thing here.
They know what they're talking about. Wait till next year, Witt. Isn't that your mantra? It has been for over 100 years. You got one World Series win in there.
You're a Twins fan, and it's been a while, so you can stop chirping.
But I got 2 of them in the last, in my lifetime. You've got 1.
I've got 1 in the last 10 years.
Well, it's been a while for me. 34.
I have 1 more than I thought would happen in my lifetime, my friend.
Yep, there you go.
Well, let's get back to football. By the way, before we forget, great to have. We greatly appreciate when coaches come on with us, and go ahead and Coach Schmidt, always very transparent, and that coaches connection thing I've known about for a bit, and it's great to hear that stuff is happening. I don't think enough light is shined on that, Tom.
I was unaware of it. I'm glad you asked him about it, and he shed some light on it. That was great.
You bet.
All right, it's been a while, hasn't it? Look at this game. I've forgotten all about this. Moorhead coming into Aberdeen this weekend. It's going to be Northern's hands are going to be full, but man, Moorhead eked out a nail biter against Mary, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and for those tuning on in, we're not going to do an elaborate breakdown of every game that was played 2 weeks ago, but we're going to go ahead and just quickly revisit them. A game where Moorhead was up 38-13, 14, something like that, and Mary all of a sudden
made it
just kept storming back. And let's just say the Dragons were pleased to get on out of there with a win.
Battle for the paddle. There's another tight one against North Dakota, amongst North Dakota schools here. Minot State. I mean, they didn't run away from Jamestown.
No, and Minot's, most of their games have been well fought. It's just a matter of which side are they coming out on. They've been on the losing side more than winning this year. But let's give a little kudos to Jamestown and the fight they had in this game as well. But Tom, I need a ruling on the uniforms.
Don't like them. The number is white. I like that. It could be a little bigger, but I'm not a fan of the camouflage top.
You know what? I really like the green that they have when they wear the greens. To me, that's a different uniform I don't see. This kind of reminds me of a disco jacket versus a Brooks Brothers suit.
Disco is a little bit before your time, but move on.
Yes. Coach Shields will be texting me any moment about that. But I'll let you unpack here.
Well, Augie that's the real deal. They've lost Gunnar Hensley, yet the offense racked up another 50 points under the true freshman Rich Lucero Jr. Augie's real deal.
He throws for over 250. He was like 21 of 28 for 3 tuds or something like that. I thought this was really telling to see how they were gonna do when he had a week to, fully prepare for a game that wasn't the key to the city and everything else. And if you're Augie boy, I think you have to have a lot of promise with him, don't you?
You got a quarterback controversy next year. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, worry about that when you get there, buddy.
Yeah. Minnesota State Mankato overcame some injuries. Big win against Winona State.
And I was curious to see if this would be a hard one for Mankato to kind of get loose in, because they're down quarterback Max Sims, they're down Trayshawn Watson, both by all indications that I think both have put on their socials or something that they are out for the year, and a real tough deal for them. So, but they've got some good strong weapons still remaining. And we'll have to see, kind of how that takes them going forward. They've got some big games coming up. Mankato does, and they really took care of business here.
Well, they got 47 points. I think they got a couple of defensive scores in this game, though, too.
Yep.
What else we got here? Oh boy, Bemidji's back, baby. Bemidji is back.
They've now got a little bit of a winning streak going, and they're going ahead and kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do offensively, while at the same time, it feels like the shock of the poor start of the season is over with them, and now they got their feet under themselves, and they might not be a really easy out the rest of the way, despite the fact it's a bit of a lost season.
I didn't ask Coach Schmidt about the Bemidji loss. You know what? Northern would be sitting real pretty. I mean, they're sitting nicely now, but it'd be real pretty had they not stubbed their toe against the Beavers.
Coach Schmidt catching strays 5 minutes after being gone.
This is the game I did over at Southwest. As I mentioned, Tate Schaefer pressed into duty. Redshirt freshman, threw for 384, ran for 70, and had his hands in all the touchdowns. Threw for 3 and ran for 2.
You know what? On the first play from scrimmage, when Bennett Brick goes down at quarterback with an ankle, and they're bringing the ambulance on and the whole deal, and they're not showing it on the stream. And Schaefer knew he was going to play a little bit, didn't know he was going to play all the snaps but one. And I can only imagine Coach Glow at that point, given the injury bug that they've had before this point. Cam Dean, who now is apparently out for the season. And a whole lot of stuff there for them to go through. And Schaefer really, I thought, stood tall in that moment and did well for them.
It's no doubt about it. Cam is done for the year. At practice late last week, both he and Brick were there, and they had those little scooters, and they're moving around on the field with.
It's like the Tour de France out there right now.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. They look like Greg Louganis on those things.
Yes.
Standings. Augie's the team right now, Witt. The team to beat.
And you know what? Neither you or I, admittedly, and we for those who tune into this show, who we are very candid about what predictions we had before the season. Neither one of us had this. I had Augie 5th in the conference. You had them like 3rd to last or something.
I did not. I think it was about 5th or 6th, just like you. Don't throw me under the bus, buddy.
They've kind of weathered things along the way. Now, their strength of schedule isn't high, let's be honest, and they finish with their strongest games at the end here, just like they did a season ago. We'll have to see how they wrap up, but there's no denying the fact that they're 7-0 right now, and in the top 10 nationally. And they have Coach OJ and company have found a way to take an inexperienced group and not let that derail them from going to the pay window. So outside of that, what else jumps off the page to you one way or the other?
That Northern State Moorhead game is going to be a dandy on Saturday. Look at where they're sitting.
Yeah.
And Wayne State, I thought they might be a little bit better. Same thing with Bemidji, but it is what it is.
You marry 3 wins overall. That kind of stands out to me. And CSP still sitting at that 1 win. And I feel like they're better than that. But at some point, your wins are what defines, kind of how your success is viewed.
I think Minot's a better club than 2 and 5 overall as well. They moved the football. That flex bone really causes problems for people, and they've made it interesting for some opponents.
Yeah, very competitive bunch, no doubt about it.
Your top 25 had a little bit of a shakeup.
Did. We still have Grand Valley ranked. That's one that'll be kind of a little bit of the talk nationally, because I can't think of the last time Grand Valley wasn't ranked, and they play Ferris State at Ferris State this coming weekend. And let's just say that that's going to be an uphill battle for them and anyone else in D2 who's playing at Ferris State. So that's something that kind of sticks out to me. But, we've got Mankato at 8. We've got Augie at 10. We've got Duluth at 11. So I think the Northern Sun's very, well represented here. And, the one team that's kind of heading up in a hurry, Tom, is Northwest Missouri State, who beat a previously ranked Fort Hays 52-3 this last week. Northern State and Coach Mack are really figuring it out, and they're kind of right now the team that is kind of has the buzz around them.
Who is charged with coming up with all of those logos to put into that top 25? Some of these schools have some interesting logos for sure.
Yes. Well, I'm the producer of the deal, so I'm the one who's putting all that in there. And we've got a library of all of them. And some teams have multiple ones that they use in kind of circulation. But the one I like the best in kind of the newer group is number 21, Johnson C. Smith, the Golden Bulls. I like that one right there. I think that's kind of a strong looking one. And Newberry is brand new to the top 25. They're number 24 right there. And then we've also got Benedict College 23, HBCU school, and that is unbeaten right now, Tom. So those are some of the newer ones you may not have come across.
I've never heard of Johnson C. Smith before.
Yep. So we actually, at this moment, I would say we're kind of getting a surge from the HBCU schools. We've got Virginia Union at 14, Johnson C. Smith at 21, and at 23, we've got Benedict College. Looks like there's a chance that we could have as many HBCUs or more than we've had in recent history come time when we pick everything up for the dance.
The dance is coming up rather quickly. When's the first regional rankings released?
Good question. Regional rankings obviously didn't come out today, otherwise we would be talking about them. However, a week from today, the alphabetical regional rankings will come out, Tom. I know you're a big fan of that. And, there'll be 10 teams from each super region. Keep in mind this year at the once the musical chairs ends and the music stops, there'll be 8 from each super region that make the tournament.
Got it. I don't like that alphabetical stuff. It serves no purpose to me, but
I've yet to find anyone who does like that.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm getting hungry. Talk about our sponsor here, would you, buddy? And that better just be water in there, not beer in that glass of yours.
Who knows? I got to do another show yet, so I need fuel. But the Boss's Pizza and Chicken, they have done a great job sponsoring us. This is in our 3rd year with them, and reminds me we're gonna have to renew that contract. But if you have any interest in potential franchisee opportunities, go to their website, take a look where that arrow points, and go ahead and tell them who you heard all of this from, which would be D2 football. And if you do so, then all of a sudden Tom and I are on Easy Street. That's how that works.
I haven't seen any green in my pocket yet, but
yes. Well, let's you know what's funny is in the national pick'em that we're doing.
Yep.
We are picking the hardest games throughout the country, 7 every week. And I am almost at a 70% clip, which is unheard of on Inside D2 Football on the Sunday show. But yet I can't seem to get ahead of you in this deal.
No, you missed the Moorhead Mary game and Duluth Northern last time around, and I missed Bemidji, Wayne State, and Duluth Northern. So we remained a 2-game gap between us. The good guys in front.
Yes. Well, let's see if I can get that back. Maybe we'll have some differences of opinion here.
I don't see it. Mary at Duluth.
I'll let you lead off each one. That way I can see if I'm going to go counter.
Okay. Mary at Duluth. We're both in accordance with this one. Bulldogs.
After Mary let me down a week ago and decided to sleepwalk through the first 3 quarters and then show up for the 4th, I am taking Duluth here. This feels like a rebound game for Duluth. We've said it before, when Duluth's supposed to be the team from the lower half, it can sometimes be in one-sided fashion, and now they're not happy about what happened the previous week. Look out. I'll take the Bulldogs.
Jamestown at Bemidji. Beavers probably hated to see that bye. Witt. They were on a 2-game roll. But the week off, I don't think it hurts them. Bemidji wins this North Division tilt.
Well, I know that they were dinged up a little bit offensively as well. Bemidji was with some spots, so I think this week off for the rest of the teams other than Northern and Southwest, I think was probably pretty welcome. To try and get as healthy as you can for down the stretch here. I like what Bemidji's doing right now. Does it feel like a little bit, too little, too late? Sure, but you know what? They're not just kind of laying down here and having a lost season. They are bringing it back to where they're trying to be as respectable as they can with this campaign. And I have a win in here in this one.
All right. We're 2 for 2. Here's a Magic City meetup. The Magic City is Minot. Oh, my favorite road trip of the year. USF and the Beavers. Sioux Falls went into Minot last year, got up early, ended up losing 26-22. They're banged up, but I think it's the Cougars. Cougars are going to corral that flex bone.
Yeah, I think this is a scary game for USF.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
A return to a haunt from a year ago. And you look at Minot, we feel like Minot is better than their record.
Yep.
But at the same time, they haven't been able to, make that go into wins. I really feel like I was so tempted to take Minot in this game, but I have a lot of confidence in USF's freshman quarterback, Tate Schaefer. I think that he has seen a lot of big moments in being a 4-year starter at Lincoln High School in Sioux Falls on a top team. And I think he's the right guy for them going forward, considering a lot of the adversity they have faced. We did have a run-in here, Tom. Our guy Brandon is in the comments, and he has Waddle. Do you remember Waddle from Minot State and Coach Shields? Do you remember what it stands for?
Win all day long.
And you know what? Great words to live by from Coach Shields and at Minot, and a guy who has been a guest of our show before, and a guy who frankly has made a difference in Brandon's life, because Brandon now uses that as something to kind of spur him on after his stroke. So pretty neat to go ahead and see that. And we've also got in terms of their announcing crew, Owen Patterson kicked on in. Owen's been watching the show a little bit here and there ever since we tuned him up that one time and had their commentary on at the end of a game. So
you tuned him up. I didn't.
Well, and you know what? He reached out to us and was actually appreciative of it. They were having kind of some fun with that. So, but moving on to our next game. And by the way, for those looking at the captions, that would be Tom Frederick's handiwork right there, in case you are looking to talk to him about that. But the hot versus who's not. Really?
I'm going hot all day.
I would agree with you here. I took Southwest a few weeks back, and they did let me down. So I don't forget about those things. And at the same time, I think Augustana is got some good things going with their new quarterback. At the same time, I think they've really had a chance to mature a lot on both sides of the ball, and are playing some really good football right now.
I've seen both teams in person. I'm going with hot. All right. Minnesota State Mankato goes to Wayne, America. We've talked about the Mavericks being down a couple of superstars on offense, but I think they're going to have enough to pull out a road win.
I think so too. And I have not gotten enough faith so far this year in the passing game with Wayne State. I think that they have a great running game, but I think Mankato is good enough at the line of scrimmage that they're going to be able to slow that down. And so as much as I don't feel like Mankato is at 100% offensively like they were earlier in the year, I have them winning this road game.
Well, we haven't differed yet, big fella.
I know it.
What do you think of this one? I like the graphic there. I like the tag at the top. I'm going with the home team. Concordia St. Paul visits Winona State, and the Warriors will prevail.
Okay, you take a lot of pride in your handiwork with the yes.
Oh, we got to differ. No,
you know
we
what?
can't be.
There was times this year where I was getting behind what CSP was doing, and I can't deal with the roller coaster. And Winona State is a different ball club at home. At Maxwell, they are just a different team. I'm going to take them to win this game handily because of the way that they can play there. And once again, we're going to be going with the same pick.
Yeah, they're going to get back to 500. And now, here we go. This is the game of the week. The North lead is on the line. Both teams are 2-1 in the North. They're 4-2 in the league. I'm going to let you go first on this one, big fella.
Well, okay. I feel home field advantage is substantial in this one. Probably about a 10-point swing. And I mean that honestly. I think if this game is played at Moorhead, I am taking Moorhead. Moorhead plays much better there. Northern is not great on the road. And I think that Northern understands the significance of this game. I think that they are going to be a little too physical in this one. But at the same time, and I think they're going to run the football. Now, on the other side, if they can't slow down that passing game with Jack Strand, this is going to be a first team to 40 wins. But I like Northern in this one. I just kind of feel like they are playing a style of football I can get behind a little more frequently. How do you see it?
Night game in the Hub City. People are going to be fired up, if you know what I mean, by game time. They're going to turn out in droves. Northern State.
I would see. Now, if you would let me go second, I might have tried to do a little swerve there and gone with Moorhead, but my heart wouldn't have been in it.
No. Northern State at home. And my ciphering says we're 7 for 7. You ain't going to catch me this week, big fella.
It won't be this week, but you know what? We're going with what our heart tells us and whatever that ends up looking like. So,
all righty.
Well, buddy, let's before we kind of sign off, there was some early projections that I think some of our folks tuning on in might be interested to see. This was done by our guy Phil Inkblot Myers, and Phil has done a great job with projections over the years. He does all the math, does all this before I ever try my hand at any of it. And while we're still a week away from any of this being relevant, this is kind of where things are if the season were to end today. And bottom left corner is what we're looking at for Super Region 3. You can see Minnesota Duluth is in the top 4. That would mean a home game, Tom. And the next 4 teams would be at-larges that would be sent based upon proximity and all that other good stuff the NCAA will do. Yes.
You know, in the old days, they could send you outside your region.
Yes.
Does that still stand?
It is. I've gotten I've gotten word that there's a certain level of distaste for that by a lot of coaches, athletic directors, and feedback. So I'm not sure that committees are necessarily jumping to do that. They haven't done it in a few years. It's only been done twice since COVID, which is really when they enacted that, Tom. So while you bring up a very relevant point, the other thing I think that we could be heading towards, Tom, is if we end up with 3 NSIC teams which is kind of where it's heading right now. You don't see Grand Valley on the page in the bottom left corner, which was a team that everyone just kind of assumed was going to be in there because they might get their third loss upcoming with Ferris State this week. I think the problem here, Tom, is that you're going to have the Northern Sun teams too far away from everybody else, and you're going to end up having them cannibalize each other again. And you're going to have an Augie go into Duluth or some type of version of that, whether it's that or vice versa, depending on how Augie finishes out. Maybe Augie's in that top 4 instead. And Mankato gets sent somewhere if this were to play out just like this. Maybe they go to an Indianapolis. Maybe they go to a Findlay. Now, Findlay in Ohio, they have a whole lot of their tough schedule remaining. It's going to be hard for them to kind of remain in that spot, I have a feeling. But it's just interesting to see a little bit of how things could play out and just kind of where things are at this moment, knowing that there's still plenty of football remaining.
Yep, 4 weeks to go. Can't wait for them to begin on Saturday, October 25th.
Yes. So, Tom, the other thing I wanted to kind of mention is as we're kind of moving through towards the end, we always want to go ahead and give kudos to the NSIC network and the home office for kind of assisting us with any, needs that we may have along the way for the show and so forth. Tom, we will go ahead and kind of end with one last thing, and that's what everyone is really tuning on in for. You thought you were going to get off without having to do this, didn't you?
When we talked earlier today, you said, I don't see this show going any longer than 40 minutes.
Well, Schmidt was a little windy, so I'm going to blame him for it. But always good stuff, Coach Schmidt. Love you. But let's go ahead and jump right on in, Tom. I think I've only got 3 questions for you.
The deep end?
Do what now?
Are we jumping into the deep end?
You know what? I think that you're going to have a chance to have success.
Okay.
Who's got the most catches in the NSIC this year?
I'm checking out the
make sure you check their website stats so you can have all the answers at your fingertips.
The comments here. I'm hoping that maybe somebody's going to come up with the
No.
comments.
No.
Who's got the most catches?
Yes. Well, we're just going to repeat every question now. Okay.
Well, it's got to be one of those Moorhead guys.
That answer, it's got to be one of those Moorhead guys.
It's got to be. The way he dishes the ball out to Perryman, to Florence, to is there another guy? There's a third guy too. Is there a Thorson maybe? We don't play him this year, so I haven't really studied.
Yeah, that's apparent. If Coach Lockway's watching the show right now, he's going to probably getting a kick out of the way you're characterizing this.
Okay.
But
it's going to be Gage Florence.
Gage Florence is the answer. He's got 64 grabs.
Okay.
What was all that about there, Samurai?
But I got it right.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. I didn't even do the sound effect, but I think we're over that. But we're gonna need to do a little. We need to do a little research with the league office with our guy Nick. I believe that he is now the all-time leading pass catcher in the history of the conference.
Number of grabs. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that he's up for the national for most ever. So we're going to plant that seed, and we'll do a little bit of research on that before our next show, just so we can have some more of those details. But I mean, the guy has been catching 100 balls a year, so it makes a whole lot of sense to me. And he had more longevity in terms of how long he was really good than Mr. Kittner did, which is the next guy that came to mind.
That's what longevity means.
Yes. Well, just kind of helping you out there.
Yeah, Danny Kittner, I liked him. That guy from Mary, he was a stud.
Maybe we'll have to do a where are they now and have him on sometime. But so Coach mentioned the top sack getter in the league,
Gabe Gutierrez. Yep.
And he has been for a good portion of the season. Who's in second place?
My first inclination would be to say the kid from Wayne State, Carter Sitzman.
I'm
And
sorry. What was that again? What you said the young man? Did you say the young man? I know that's one of your things. The young
no, I
man.
said the guy from Wayne State, Carter Sitzman.
Nope, it's actually Connor Haggerty from
Ooh,
Winona State.
huh? D tackle, number 95.
There you go, and you'll have them in a few weeks.
Mhm.
Now our last question. We're giving some love to the defensive side. Who has the most TFLs in the league?
The most tackles for loss. I'm going to go Jake Adams, Northern State.
You know what? Not a lot of his end up being behind the line. So,
I'm wrong. Okay.
Wayne State is the answer.
Oh, it's that linebacker. He's got no vowels in his last name. Jursic or something like that.
Jess Kershaw.
Kershaw. Okay, yeah, something. Yeah,
Yes. And he's a guy that we have not talked a lot about this year, but he is. I want to say he's at like 11 TFLs, which is a really good number.
yeah.
So he's done very well this year, and a guy who's really kind of stepped up, and I'm sure will be kind of in the conversation for like defensive player of the year.
Unlike me, I didn't do very well. 1 out of 3 here on D2 Jeopardy. Darn it.
Well, buddy, let me see if there's anything in the comments that we're going to feel compelled to go ahead and share here. Our guy Dan Brookins has been very active, and I appreciate you stopping on in along with our guy Laker Brad Koenig. Brad's got a question here. What's the weather prediction for Saturday? Apparently, I'm playing meteorologist now. So let's go ahead and see.
Where is he asking? The entire Midwest or what?
Brad, you could narrow it down a little bit there, but I'm assuming he means in Minot.
Yeah, windy and 67 in Minot. Tim Hyatt told me that earlier.
There you have it. Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning on in. Our guy Tukes for stopping on by, and our guy Brandon as well. Brandon Meisner made a run in for us also. Oh wait, no, Brad's specifying Moorhead and Northern.
Ooh.
I'm assuming probably not a whole lot different in terms of that. But nonetheless, apparently Tom's going to figure that out for you before we go off air. And
I think I got Aberdeen on my phone. Here it is. For Saturday, 65 during the day, so it'll be cool at night. No mention of wind.
fair enough. And thanks again for Coach Schmidt to come on with us. That was good stuff, and his Wolves squad. This is your first time tuning on in. We're Mondays, 5:30 Central Time. Feel free to stop on in, jump in the comments, give us some thoughts. All that good stuff. Any last parting comments from you, my friend?
No, hopefully the toe will be better by the next time we talk.
Fair enough. I'll make sure you have pictures ready for that. Thank you.